How are we all? How are we all? No, obviously you've never worked with me before, but some have at the back anyway. How are you fellas? You all right? Good to see you. I'm going to share something. Who wants to learn something that will help them transform their business without spending an awful lot of money? Hands up. Now, you get these cheesy questions when you go to these big events, and they pile you at the back of the room. I promise you I'm not going to do any of that. All I'm going to say to you at the moment is, Chris has kindly invited me along. I'm just going to share with you my story. I'm going to share with you some of the things that have worked for me. And at the end, if you've got any questions, I'd be delighted to give you my feedback. So, first of all, I just want to say, Luke, that was amazing content there. And content is something that I'm really crap at. So my thing is, I'm not particularly detailed. I'm not the most detailed guy in the world, but I have strengths. I'm going to come on to that. And make your market is one of the things that I'm very much working with people on at the moment. And hands up if you're a business leader, business owner, serious, I suppose a senior manager of some description in this room here. Can I just have hands up if you are? Fantastic. Hands up if you have been in agency, whether it's a state agency, sales or lettings, for over 10 years. Over 20 years. Can I ask you guys over 20 years to just stand up for me? If they can. I think it deserves a round of applause, guys. So. Thank you. Don't go over the top, by the way, everyone. You know, just sit down. You've just been doing a job, you know. But look, seriously, is it challenging out there at the moment? Someone said no. That's nice. Is it challenging out there at the moment? Yeah? Okay, so can I ask some questions, just very simply? I want you to write down one challenge that you're being faced with, one of your biggest challenges right now that you're being faced with, okay? Just one. Write one down. Just one. Promise me you'll do that. There is a point. Just write one challenge down. And for those brave souls out there at the moment who don't mind a microphone being stuffed under their nose or like shouting out, contributing or anything else, I'm going to ask you to just shout out some of those challenges that you've got at the moment. And I'm going to ask my glamorous assistant, Sanjay. I'm going to ask my glamorous assistant, Sanjay, to just help me write some of these things down. I haven't tested this out, so I'm not very well prepared because I don't know what his writing's like. But can I ask you to just shout some of your biggest challenges out, please?
I can do the microphone.
You can, but you're going to be going like that, Chris, and you might, you know...
I need to lose the weight.
Oh, wait, I'm not going to say a word. But anyway, shout them out. Shout them as loud as you can. Letting fees. Loss of letting income, fee income. Yep, next. Valuations. Staying ahead of the curve. Overpriced stock. Cheap fees. Staff. Hands up if staff's a real challenge. Ooh, oh, you're going to love me.
Not that volume down. Right.
Any others? Finding buyers. Good one at the moment. Hear that a lot. Yes? Working on rather than in. Nice to see you. Fantastic.
Too many wanting to test the water.
Test the water. Yeah, so you've got a few people that are just a bit undecided, yeah? Okay, keep them warm. So trying to find sort of hot buyers or hot landlords or whatever you want to call it. Okay, so test the water. Anybody else? So literally cold start, opening in or breaking into an area as someone who's established but needs to gain market share. So really kind of making an impact quicker in today's market. Yeah? Okay. Any others? Liquidation of portfolios. Okay. Yeah. So people selling what they've probably had and selling stock. Okay. Any others? Cheap fees. We love cheap fees. So we've got quite a few there. Would you agree? I'm going to come back to those in a minute. I'm going to share with you my story. So how many of you want to feel like this young man? Yeah. You're in control. I'm loving what you're doing at the moment, Clint. You're everywhere. I love it. In control. Who feels in control? Hands up, stand up. Who feels really in control of what they're doing at the moment? Sorry, I'll stand still, Chris. I know I've been told. Yep. Who feels in control? Not many hands. Okay. You feel good, Sanj. I love it. Right, you take over. So who feels like this? Ah! Who feels really frustrated by all of these things and all these challenges that you're being faced with at the moment? Who feels like that at the moment, yeah? Okay, so quite a few of you. I'm going to talk to you about where my life changed probably quite considerably about 6 years ago, 6.5 years ago, when I opened Gigs & Co. And I spent a long time at a company called Countrywide, if you don't know who they are. Who knows Countrywide? There's a lot of... I spent a long time there, and I was taught very much to... the kind of things that happen in that particular world, it's all about the numbers, yeah? It was all about beating the crap out of the people, Keep beating them until they get motivated. There's that kind of environment in the nicest possible way. But it did have a really good impact on me at the early days of my career. But one of the things that I've learned more so in the recent years is to focus on the things that I can control and the things that I can influence. And there's a lot of things on here. Would you say they're external influences or internal influences? External. And I'm going to ask you just to tune off the external influences right now and focus on some of the things that I want to share with you. And like I said, I've got no reason to try and convince you of anything today. I'm only going to tell you about what I've done and the things that have worked for me, a little bit like Luke, and I'm just going to talk about the things that I've worked on in terms of what I felt I could control more of. Like I said, I worked at Countrywide, and back then at Countrywide, I learned a hell of a lot of what I could do, how I could work, and also how I wouldn't work as a leader. And it taught me a lot. I worked there for about 17 years. And like I said, 6.5 years doing my own business, stepping away from that took some time. I took a lot of habits with me in the early days. There's a guy called John Cottrell at the back. I think he's on later on. And John and I worked together quite a lot in my first year when we opened. And John would have probably recognised some of those habits as a corporate leader, if you like. I did feel like that at the top. I was very close to leaving a estate agency altogether. I arrived home on my driveway in tears one afternoon, and I just walked out the office, had the biggest bollocking of your life from my MD. I was the top in the country, and I let one of my managers recruit somebody who had a tattoo on their hand. And I got absolutely ruined in front of everybody. Came down, I thought, I've had enough, out the door, got home. My wife pulled up on the driveway. She looked at me and said, "What's happened? Who's died?" I said, "No one's died. Pete's just absolutely ruined me." And, even now talking about it, it makes me feel a little bit giddy. But she said to me, "Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? We can't go on holiday without you looking at your crackberry." Who had a crackberry once upon a time? Who knows what a crackberry is? Yeah, same as an iPhone, really. But I couldn't go on holiday without checking it every 5 minutes. I couldn't go on holiday without I just could never switch off. I never switched off at all. I was constantly being bombarded by demands, emails, things that I need to do. And it kind of made me feel like I was completely out of control of my life, let alone my business. And I was the top guy in the country, in the Countrywide group. Best on net profits, loads of significance, nice car, company pension, all the things that kept you there. But I was so unhappy. I can't tell you how unhappy I was. I was just about to leave a estate agency. And standing here now, talking to you, it still feels a little bit strange that, that my life changed at this point. And it was at the point when my wife said to me, "Why are you doing it?" And guess what I said? I didn't know. And it was about money, security. It wasn't about the things that really drive people to performance. So I learnt a lot, and I felt at the time I was one of those guys at the top of that hand, just following the crowd. And I'm going to follow the crowd, and I'm going to just do what everybody else does. And I actually thought at one point, as a regional director of 14 offices, 75 staff, that I couldn't actually manage people anymore. I believed that I wasn't good enough anymore to even go and run an office. That's how much I got destroyed by my senior colleague. And I don't resent the guy at all. It was the best thing that ever happened to me. And this was the change. And by the way, sometimes life makes you feel like this. Am I right in saying that? Who feels like they're being conditioned at the moment by the market, for example? So I decided that I didn't want to go down the old route. I wanted to go down a new direction. For me, it was all about, look, I'm just not having fun. I'm not enjoying it. And I'm quite a fun kind of guy. I don't want to turn up to work and dread. Who had that Sunday feeling in an old role that they worked in, that feeling on a Sunday where you feel a bit like, "Oh, God, man, I've got to go in there tomorrow. Don't know what I'm going to be faced with." I had those feelings, and it really, really, really did affect all of my relationships. But somebody said to me a long time ago, You've got to learn to love yourself before you love anybody else. Hands up who's heard that phrase before. You've got to learn to love yourself before you love anybody else. In leadership, you've got to learn to lead yourself before you lead anybody else. Why is that true? Can somebody shout out why they think that might be a case? Gratitude. Anything else?
I think it's about introspection. I think you learn and develop yourself, and as you go along, you apply those skills, because it's not just about thinking that you can manage people, it's about changing yourself to manage people.
Massively. Who's heard of a guy called Simon Sinek? Hands up. If you don't, just write his name down, log on. This guy is probably one of the best thought leaders that you'll ever come across. I've left a video with Chris today, which is 15 minutes, which I was going to play, but I can't because I just haven't got the time. But at the end, I would suggest we play it at some point today. Fantastic. But there's a thing saying leaders eat last. What do you think leaders eat last actually means? Not literally at lunchtime when you sit around the lunch table. What do you think, hands up who thinks they understand what leaders eat last actually means? Fire away.
People that get you to, people around you that are working with you that get you to where you want to be.
How many people are going to create a great life, meet their dreams, build up a fantastic business, doing it all on their own? I thought that's how it had to be. I worked in the pyramid. You know, the CEO was at the top, you were one below, and all that kind of stuff, and all the pressure just rolled downhill, right? Life's changed me massively in the last 6 years, and one of the first things was I had to learn to lead myself. I had to understand that it was my responsibility and own stuff. And what I did before I made this transition to corporate man for 16, 17 years, loads of achievements, is I had to decide what my passion was. Was it a estate agency or not? And it was. Actually, people phone me all the time, say, I'd love to come and work for you, I'd love to come and here, talk to you. And I say, what? Why? Tell me why. And they say, I'd love to know, I love property. I say, no, be a surveyor. Be a surveyor. If you love people, come into this industry, because that's what it's all about. So finding a passion is key. Finding your passion is key. Who loves what they do today? Hands up. You should be straight up, standing up, beating your bloody hand in the air. But I understand there's challenges at the moment. But for me, what happened is I had to ask myself, what is it that I'm passionate about first, so I can get my purpose clear and understand where I'm going again? Almost like refocus. I'm going to come on to that in a second, but I'm just going to share a couple of the guys that made quite an impact on me, just to give you some ideas. I was 17 stone when I left Countrywide, really unhealthy, high blood pressure, you know, I could tell you loads of stories and milk it and ham it and everything else, but I genuinely didn't believe in nutrition, fitness, well-being or anything like that. Then I ran the London Marathon only 2 years ago. And I never would have thought back then, 7 years ago, that I'd have even dreamed of running a London Marathon. But these guys here, you've probably heard of some of them yourself. Some of you have probably seen them. But a guy called Tony Robbins, Stephen Covey, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and I've already mentioned Simon Sinek. What I started to realise was there's a number one subject and a number one challenge that we've got. That if you start with that, all this stuff gets taken care of itself. And what do you think that number one subject is? Say it. Yourself. The way you think. How many of you have won 2 or 3 instructions and the next one's just a breeze? Hands up. Happens all the time. What about confidence? What happens when you've lost a couple and somebody said no, they don't want to use you? What happens to your confidence then when you go out on that next appointment? Where's your belief disappeared to? One of the things that I realised back in the early days, and this was in my first year of taking Gigs & Co. as a brand new office, in an office which was literally the size of this table, 2.5 miles from the town centre, to number 1 on new listings in the first month we traded, to number 1 on sold boards, who remembers those market share reports, in 5 months, and we turned over 300,000 in year 1 from a standing start. We had 40% of the market. There were 12 estate agents in the town. And it wasn't because I was a great estate agent that got me there. No. What made me really, really successful in those early years is realising that I can't do this on my own. I need people around me, and I need to believe in myself more. I need to work on the thing that matters the most. Your number one biggest challenge today isn't all of these things. It's how you think right now, how you feel right now. That is it, full stop, verbatim. And I'll challenge anybody to tell me otherwise. I set a compelling vision because I knew if I didn't have a vision, what would happen to my recruitment of new people? What if I didn't spell out what kind of people I needed to come and join me on this journey? What if I didn't know where I was going? What kind of people would I have brought on? What kind of people? Who would have come with me? Who would have come with me at the start of this journey? A guy who's just left somewhere, not in a particularly good way, and he's just about to go on this journey. Why would I want to leave and come with him? Well, it's because I decided I had this vision. And this vision wasn't anything mesmerising. It started quite small. It was in the town. I wanted to be number one. Of course, I'm a competitive guy. But I just wanted to treat people how they wish to be treated. That was it. Every time somebody put the phone down or got an email or they met us, they described us with one word. And it's not a rude one. It was wow. That was my vision in year one. I wanted every contact, every experience, every conversation to leave them thinking wow. Now, can we control that? Yes or no, folks? Yes or no, folks? Yes. And I believed that that was the thing. Black and white service, no grey areas, all these kind of things that we had, slogans and everything else. But ultimately, I was recruiting people on this vision. And this vision will attract the best team. And by the way, it's okay going after raving fans. If you haven't got raving fans in your organisation, you won't get raving fans as clients. Full stop. If your team don't love turning up on a Monday, guess what happens to the experience they give those clients? And you can change all of this, as much as I'm telling you now, which will change all of that. This guy had a dream. Who remembers that story about Martin Luther King? Hands up. If you haven't read it, you should read it. It's amazing. There was no social media back then. But he managed to get quite a few thousand people to turn up on that day, and that was based on his vision. If you've got a vision for your organisation, you will pull people with you, depending on that vision. Now, how many understand what vision is? Hands up if you understand what a vision for your organisation actually is, just so I know. Hands up. Then look, talk to me at the break. I'd love to share more, and there's some thought leaders that will really shape it around. You can actually Google these days how to create a vision for your business. It's so important, guys. People don't come these days, they're not interested necessarily in the financial elements. How much are you going to pay me? What commission am I going to get? If they believe in the journey you're going on, they are coming with you. As long as it's win-win. So I had to tap into what was my passion. Why did I want to stay in a state agency? Why was it important for me? And I'll tell you what it was. It's because I just love helping people. I genuinely love helping people. And I love the gratification off the back of it. Don't get me wrong, I love a testimonial. I love all of those things. But I love seeing things through and seeing people achieve their dreams, their goals, whether it's somebody who's selling or buying through us, or whether it's a member of my team, or whether it's clients that I've worked with. I just love seeing people go from here to here like I've done, using the same strategies and techniques which I'm sharing with you today. But I'm telling you now, this is a circle that Simon Sinek used. And it says start with why. There's a video called Start With Why. And it resonated with me because how many agents out there at the moment are going out there talking about what they do? How many agents go out there and talk about what we do, what we do, what we do? Hands up. Who knows? What percentage of agents go out there and talk about what they do? All of them? Yeah. How many talk about how they do it, the process? This is what's going to happen, this is what we do. How many talk about the process? What percentage? Oh, some? Go on, give me some numbers. Give me a percentage. 80%? How many talk about why they do it? How many people go out there and sit with a client and they talk about why they actually want to do what they do and why they're there today to help that client meet their needs? Does that sound a bit bizarre to everybody in here? Does that sound a bit far-fetched? Why am I highlighting this? Why is passion important, guys? Tell me. What do you think? Why is passion important? Alan?
If you're not passionate about what you do, how can you get somebody to share that passion with you?
How infectious is it when you meet somebody in sales and they've got nothing about them, they're really like, they really don't enjoy what they're doing, they've got no enthusiasm, nothing about them. What am I going to say to you is, how likely are you to buy from them? What do we sell, guys? Are we all in sales? Hands up if you're in sales. Hands up if you're in sales. Come on, come on. So what do we sell? Ourselves, yeah. What else? Products? The dream, yeah, okay, cool. That was me when we started Gigs & Co, right? There's my little team there. That's my wife on the right, and it's Nikki who's still with me today, and that's Daryl, my father-in-law with the moustache. The reason why he's in the picture is because we didn't have that many people at the start, and he worked in London, so we thought that was quite a good idea to get him in the photograph at the beginning. Anyway, it wasn't cheating, because he did our proofreading for us, okay? So he was part of the organisation. But he started with us in May 2012 in terms of helping us to formalise our marketing and our plans and everything else. But that's where we began. And we had this journey. And this journey was about, what is our market? What is our market? How do we see challenges? I wanted to take estate agency and turn it on its head. For me, I didn't want to be a sheep. I didn't want to follow the rest. I wanted to start something different. The place we started in was a 200 square foot office 2.5 miles from the town. This was 6 years ago. That didn't happen back then. There was hardly anybody doing that. Nobody could find us. When the phone rang, it was about, where are you, rather than a house. And when eventually people did find us, they had a great experience. But I'm telling you, our passion and what we did shone through everything that we did. Because they knew, our team knew what was important and what mattered most. But the challenges back then, they were simple. Same as today. Because were these challenges similar back then as well? Did you have cheap fee agents back then, 7 years ago, 6.5 years ago? Did you have problems with staff 6.5 years ago, 7 years ago? So all these things, if you keep putting them up on the board, they'll keep showing up in your life. What I'm going to show you is if you take control of this and set yourself the right mindset, you will take yourself through this journey a lot easier. And for me, challenges aren't challenges, really. They are. I love challenges, but I see them as opportunities. Challenges are opportunities. For me, it's all about taking on challenges, and they're the places that we will grow our business. And for me, that is fundamentally why we're on this journey at the moment. And I've just put here hard work. What does hard work mean? Well, of a person tending to work with energy and commitment, diligent, or an efficient, hardworking and trusted administrator. Now, I hear a lot of this, it's a tough market. Who's heard that before? It's a tough market. It's a tough market. It's tough out there. It's challenging. It's this, it's that, and everything else. No. It's whatever's going on in your head. Your market is in between those beautiful ears. It is. It's all what goes on there. How you think and feel is your market. How you do see the challenges determines how you lead your team and your business and yourself. And people talk about fear, and I talk about fear with guys that I've worked with, and I say, no, just do it, right? How many of you yesterday rang up loads of people that haven't used your business and asked them why they've not used your business, right? Why didn't you come and use us? I just want to find out. I just want to talk to you. Just want to establish what it was that we didn't do, because I want to improve our service. What's going to happen when you have those conversations? You're engaging. What do they think about you when you make that call? That you care. What else? That you're passionate. Who are they going to go to next? So there's a lot of things that we fear at the moment. And in here, thank you very much, that if you fear all of these things, what are you going to prevent yourself from doing? So it's all in here. Everything goes on in your mind. Now, we've talked about what do we sell. We say, I sell ourselves. We sell this. We sell that. I'll tell you what we sell in our business. We sell solutions. That's all we're here to do. And how do you get solutions? How do you get solutions? How can you know what a solution, the right solution is for a particular client? How will you know what the solution is? By finding out. So let me just share some stats just quickly. In year 2, so year 1 we turned over 300,000, 85 grand net profit. Year 2, 650, 285 grand net profit. And we weren't spending anywhere near as much on marketing as the competition. What we did is we asked way more questions of our clients compared to our competition. They may have emailed, text or whatever it is. They may have communicated in some description, but my opinion is we should talk to people, ask questions, ask what their challenges are, what their problems are, what are you concerned by, and actually, what do you need? We're in a needs-based industry, folks. That's all we're in. People need to sell, they need to buy, they need a property manager, they need things from you guys, more so than they need these things. So all I'm going to say to you on that point is if you're here and you're doing everything to deliver their solutions, and by the way, when you find out what people's needs are, how easy is it to give them a solution? So what do you think people's needs are? What do our clients really want? Give me some things at the moment. What do clients want out there at the moment? What do the public want when they're selling or letting? Best price. Speed. Value. Passion from their agent. What else?
Moved on to the next home. Their chapter of their life.
Oh, I thought you said moved on to the next slide then. Move on to the next home, definitely. So actually move, yes? To look at their concerns. And when you bridge that conversation with them, and I'm talking conversation now, this is a thing that we've reintroduced back into our organisation, which is called punting. Who's heard of punting before? Prospecting, making phone calls, talking, having conversations, chatting, networking, call it what you like. It's the stuff we can influence and we can control that we focus on at gigs. We don't tend to do enough, perhaps, on the external stuff. We work on all of the internal stuff. Why? Because I can control what we do. My colleagues can control that hour of their time every day where they're talking to their clients about new instructions, price reductions. Oh, you're a landlord. When can we meet for a coffee about the rest of your portfolio? Whatever it might look like, whatever we do. Questions are the answers, but all I'm going to say to you is we delve deep into our clients' needs and we give them solutions. And without shadow of a doubt, how does that make you look as an agent today? How does that make you look if you get to the needs? Engaged, professional, you care. How do you want to look? Credible. This isn't rocket science. There's going to be people in this room going, I've learnt this 20 years ago. Absolutely. So why have we stopped? Why have we stopped? Why have we stopped having conversations? Why? We got stuck with the noise. How many emails do we get a day? Hands up if you get more than 100 emails a day. Hands up. There's a lot of noise out there, folks, and it's a lot of distraction, and it will take you away from the must-do activities that you need to look at every single day, whether that's working on yourself, which I'll come on to, or making sure that you and your team are working on the activities which will actually generate new business. I've seen a lot of estate agents with databases in here. There's going to be hundreds of thousands of opportunities just sitting in this room today if you picked up the phone and just started talking to people again and asking, as a landlord, look, what's really important to you? What do you really need? What's a must from me, your agent? And I'm guaranteed you lot sitting in here means you're more committed than most people because you're willing to learn, which means you're the kind of people that they will want to deal with. And the thing that I said at the start about growing a business around your people was that 85% of your activity, 85% of your income is done by activities, in generating activities and skills and personalities. It's not the technical stuff. And to build a great business, you've got to build great people. And you can't bring great people into an organisation if you haven't got a vision. Because how are you going to bring somebody into an organisation if you don't know what you stand for and where you're going and what you're doing? If anyone's coming into that vision, no wonder you have staff problems. And by the way, I know not all staff problems come like that, but challenges will occur during the day-to-day. But I'm saying to you now, if you know where you're going and they know where they're going, I promise you it makes such a difference. This guy, Zig Ziglar, if you haven't read any of his stuff, have a look, another good thought leader. But you don't build a business, you build people. Building people is building belief. Building belief gives people the opportunity to take action. They believe if they can do it, they're going to do it. Most people at the moment think they can't. Most people at the moment are scared about saying 12%. scared of saying 1.5%. They're scared of what? What are they scared of? Rejection. Building people means you don't get rejection. Building their why means you don't get rejection. And I'm talking about their why, whether it's your team, and let's say John Paul was working for me. I would want to know why John Paul's working for me. Is that a ridiculous thing to say? I want to know why he's here. Why are you on this journey, John? And he'll be saying, well, it's because of my family, or I've got a desire to do this, I want to grow. I've got guys that have worked for me that want to grow into their own businesses. So it's fine by me. Take the stuff, let's go together. I've got people that just want to stay doing what they're doing. They're happy doing what they're doing. That's fine as well. But I need to know why they're here. And I'd ask you, how many of you have got team players, people in your team at the moment? So there's more people in your business other than you, hands up. Do you know their why? Do you know their why? If you'd done a circle now and you said, what percentage of my time every day is spent doing what I'm great at, where would that circle look like? What would that pie chart look like? So I'm going to ask you quickly, draw a circle, very quickly. Draw a circle, very quickly, on a blank piece of paper. There's a very good reason for this. This is one of the things I learned in year one. Having worked in the corporate world, managing 14 offices, I thought it was really important, checking on reports and numbers. But actually, I was crap at checking at reports and numbers. Getting me in front of people, I was fine. I loved that part. But I was doing it for 15% of my working week. How many people in here are 100% of their time on their strength, on their talent, day in, day out? Hands up. Good for you. Well done. Pleased to see it. You've seen this before. You've got a PA. That's a good one, isn't it? How many of you, be honest, are under 50%? How many of you are under 50%? Hands up. It's nothing to be embarrassed about. By the way, if you're under 50% of your time on your strength, what's your productivity like at the moment? What are you producing? One of the things I learned was to get myself clear on where my strengths are. Here's just an example of a report, an Innometrics report, which tells me what my strengths are. Though I kind of knew it, it was nice to see it in writing as well. There's loads of free things out there at the moment that you can get. But this told me I was quite demanding, driving, gregarious, persuasive, as you can see, on the high I scale, the high D scale. But I'm not very good on the stabilising and cautious bit. So what I did is I spent my time driving the front end of my business forward, talking to clients, making calls, networking, bridging that gap that the business needed. And I got myself into doing that for a majority of my time. But what I did that was more important is I recruited people around me that were good at the other stuff and that they played to their strengths. And what happens when other people in your business play to their strengths? Do they stay or go? They stay. And what happens to their performance? It goes up. And like I say, conversations are great for business. Finding out their why. And if you've got a challenging member of staff, I'm telling you now, you're only one conversation away from a solution. Remember that. What happens is we leave the difficult conversations way too long. We leave difficult conversations. Are there people in your business that at the moment that aren't right for your business? When are you going to sit down and actually talk to them? Questions are the answers. For me, I've shared this statistic. 85% of your financial success is due to your personality, ability to communicate, negotiate, and lead. Shockingly, only 15% is due to technical knowledge. Now, this isn't about external game changers, silver bullets. This isn't about strategies and techniques that you can use. I can't confess to... If I talked about that, I'm inauthentic. Because that isn't where I'm good. What I'm saying to you is I train my team every single day. 7:30 in the coffee shop this morning, training session 1. 8:30, training session 2. 9:15, left to come here. I believe in training. Training never ends. Talk, coach, question. Get them to believe in themselves, and you guys, they're going to believe in you and your business. Not only that, you're going to send people out into the field who are not practicing on the public anymore. If your average fee is $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, whatever it looks like, Clint, 15. If you've got an average fee, that's the average amount that you're giving that person to throw away by not training them, by not teaching them, giving them 20 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes. That's coaching, that's training. For me, it's one of the best things that we've ever done. We focus on it continuously. You'll see back in 2012 when we started the Gigs and Company group, we won awards, we grew. At the moment, we have Signature Homes, which has just launched, Giggs and McGrath, and Giggs and McGrath on the same thing that I've just shared with you, on the same beliefs, the same strategies, in their second month, in the location, in a tiny little office of this size, listed 34 properties. The second agent was half. Now you could say, but you're close by. No, we're not. We're 14 miles apart. 12 miles, 14 miles apart. Damien, what does he do? He's relentless. He's networking, he's on the phone, he can't stop talking to people. And all the time, he's generating activity and action. And I'm telling you now, Noon and Gigs, this is Joanne. Would you mind just standing up, Joanne? This is Joanne, my business partner from Noon and Gigs. And now, Joanne, what would you say has been one of probably the biggest learnings for you in the last year working together as a partnership?
For me, because I'd always been a Lone Ranger for sort of 9 years, and then when Matt and I got together...
Not literally.
No, not literally. Purely business. One of the ladies said it earlier, I was very much working in the business day and night. I had 2 small children. It was relentless. And then when we got together, now I spend more time working on the business rather than in the business. And for me, that has been... It's been a huge learning curve, because suddenly it's like, what do you mean you don't need me to do? You know, I was really bad at micromanaging people, and... So yeah, it's been brilliant, because Matt is quite infectious as well with his energy, and we both do very much sing from the same hymn sheet on how we treat customers, and it's all about the customer journey, and we're both really passionate about what we do. And yeah, and for me, it was, well, I think for both of us.
Massively, yeah, without a doubt. Thank you, Joanne, thank you. She's got a much better voice than I have, I know that, and she's brilliant to work with because we've got the same values. We've got a vision, a joint vision, so we know where we're going together, so it's very, very clear. Here's the team now, and this is under 6 years of being in business, and there was about 5 or 6 people missing from this particular photograph. And, you know, for me, my why is quite clear. It's my family, my beautiful wife, and having a nice house, those kind of things. Yeah, they matter, but actually, these are the things that I love the most. I love the clients with my family. It all fits around this world that I live in at the moment, and getting brilliant feedback from people about how they've impacted their lives by actually taking control of their life, focusing on what they can influence, showing up every day with the right mindset. And I know you're going to get challenges, and I know things are going to come your way, but rather than come in and fear those challenges, embrace them. Look forward to them. And for me, seeing people smashing it, because I've shared stuff that have worked for them, seeing people that said, you know, they thought it was down to their lucky watch that they won instructions. Who's got a lucky pair of pants, lucky watch, lucky shoes? Right. Well, he decided that actually, forget all of that. It was down to his mindset. One day I lost 3 valuations in a row and I took the watch off, left it at home. The next day I won all 4 valuations. So you know, mindset is everything. And it's nothing in half an hour that I'm going to be able to give you that you can necessarily change or do. My advice is find 1 hour a day. 1 hour a day, just listen to somebody. Listen to somebody that's doing it, whether it's Luke, John Paul, Alan, Chris, the guys that I've mentioned earlier. Find people, search out people that have been successful and they've achieved the kind of things that are in line with your vision. For me, there's some rules, but I'm going to share this content with you on slides if you want to receive it and read it. There's just a few rules there to make your market. Your time for doing it is now. That's Matt Giggs, that's me, and I have a power group which is all around self-leadership, all around personal development. It's free to get in. Just send us an invite and we'll accept you. And we kind of go from there, really, don't we, Chris?
We do. Coffee's about to be served. Is there any hot questions that you want asking of the big man before you go for a coffee? Okay, come with me. Put some background music on this, Matt. That'd be good.
Hello. You keep hammering on about personal development, but I don't really understand that term. Could you define it?
Okay, yeah. So basically, personal development is what it says it is. It's about how you develop the way you think. So at the moment, some people, and in life, they'll come across challenges and think, oh, for God's sake, and it knocks them down. For me, the brain is the most powerful muscle that we've got. So what I talk about with personal development, it's about reading, listening to people, things, ideas, stories, coming to events like this. This is part of personal development. It's learning how to overcome the challenges that are out there today. So for example, I think you said something to do with, was it fees? No. What was your one?
Yeah, the abolishment.
It was fees. So for me, how many hours of training on fees this week and questions have you worked on yourself personally?
None, actually. I'm
Okay,
not
so what I would do with you is I'd say, right, that's your biggest challenge. Let's put an hour in the diary and let's work on the development of those questions so you feel way more confident. That's personal development. It's training, it's teaching, it's learning, it's listening.
Right.
Okay? It's stuff you can control, buddy.
Anyone else?
Boring question, but I was going to ask
okay.
if you still operate from an office as opposed to a shop front.
So we've got a window display. We're still 2 miles from the town, but we've got a lovely big office which is on the green and on the corner of quite a busy main road. It's a lovely place, 2,000 square foot, but we deliberately chose not to go in to town when we could afford to, if that answers your question.
Anything else? Right, coffee, sticky bun, back in again. Have a wee as well. Thank you very much. Show your appreciation to Matt.
Thank you.